On May the 11th, 2023, the call that no one wants to hear. Shots fired, officer down.
We're motor 2. All I have is that it is a tan and she's yelling at a female, asking her to call 911. I'm chasing a female. I'm trying to get further. Okay, motor 2. The female was sitting in the parking lot in her vehicle, and a black male in the Jeep approached her, and she drove off, and he's now following her. I believe it was verbal at one point. Where are they at? I'm pulling out stuff out. Trying to figure that out now. Stand by. I got the Jeep in the parking lot. We got TAC 1033. Stop on. Oh, get me out! Out! Oh, down! Oh, down! Shots fired! Copy, shots fired. Everyone's on the way. Petco.
Corporal Shawn Kelly had been shot immediately upon arriving at Petco store on South Range Avenue after being dispatched to a suspicious person call. An officer in training riding with Corporal Kelly broadcast the incident and returned fire at the suspect. The suspect fled. Livingston Parish communication deputies were able to put out a bolo. 14 minutes after the ambush, Deputy Dakota Naquin, along with his canine partner Rex, encountered the suspect a little over a mile north of the crime scene. In a matter of seconds, with a small window of opportunity to engage the threat and under threat of gunfire from a superior weapon, Deputy Naquin fired at the armed suspect from 45 yards with a handgun and stopped the threat before anyone else was hurt. In this episode, and others to follow, we take you behind the scenes of that fateful day. Our goal is to honor Corporal Shawn Kelly by learning more about the man behind the badge, from those who knew him best. You'll also hear from those law enforcement professionals who were involved in the call and who, under unexpected, surprising circumstances, exhibited the highest level of skill and mental preparation that it takes to be a professional law enforcement officer. These are their stories.
This podcast episode may contain explicit material. Listener viewer discretion is advised. The intention is not to offend, but to provide information. Proceed only if you are comfortable with potentially sensitive content.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Behind the Scenes with Sheriff Jason Ard. I'm Jason Ard. We started this podcast to educate everyone on the role of the Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office. We're about serving and protecting our community. On this podcast, we will tackle lots of topics. May the 11th, 2023, at approximately 3:45 p.m., a resident of Livingston Parish was driving in the parking lot of 2358 South Range Avenue when a man driving a gold Jeep Cherokee followed her from the Petco parking lot to her residence in Denham Springs. During the incident, the driver cut her off several times and brake checked her while driving. When the female pulled into her driveway, the subject followed. When she pulled into the resident's garage and closed the door, the subject backed out of the driveway and left the area. All vehicle identifiers are consistent with the suspect in a later shooting incident. May the 11th, at approximately 4:03 p.m., officers with the Denham Springs Police Department respond to 240 South Range 12 Boulevard in reference to a 911 call of a male yelling and threatening a patron walking past him near the Sports Clips Haircuts. The suspect was described as a black male who left the area in a gold Jeep Cherokee, also consistent with the suspect and vehicle in the later shooting incident. Suspect was last seen headed toward Bass Pro Boulevard, Thursday, May the 11th, at approximately 4:15 p.m. Officers with the Denham Springs Police Department responded to 2358 South Range Avenue in reference to a 911 call of a male and female arguing in the parking lot of Petco. The male subject began shouting at the woman, who later stated she did not know the subject. The woman reportedly responded to the suspect by threatening to call the police. The woman then got in her vehicle. The male suspect began following her through the parking lot. Denham Springs Police Department, Corporal Shawn Kelly and a trainee arrived on scene in reference to the 911 call. At approximately 2:22 p.m., the officers exited their vehicle, and the male subject, later identified as Justin Roberts, fired upon them through his driver's side window while still seated in the vehicle. Corporal Kelly was struck multiple times. Roberts then drove across the parking lot in the direction of the Raising Cane's restaurant. Within seconds, Roberts turned his vehicle around and drove back toward the Denham Springs police officers, where he fired upon them once again. The Denham Springs police trainee returned fire before Roberts fled the scene. Roberts was not injured, but his vehicle was struck. With me today, I have Deputy Dakota Naquin, and we're going to be paying tribute to Corporal Shawn Kelly. I'll be the first to tell you that I knew who Kelly was. I knew of him, and I have met him a couple of times, but I really didn't know Corporal Shawn Kelly. He was from what I've learned and heard about him, he is just a walking testimony of a real, true police officer. Loved his community, loved serving and protecting and doing what he did. He was the type of guy that anybody knew that would come on scene. As far as, he had a trainee with him when all this went down. That was Corporal Shawn Kelly. He wanted to take people under his wing, teach them, train them, and that's who he was. But we want to take you through that day to pay tribute to a man that gave his all, the ultimate sacrifice. So sometimes these things are obviously very difficult to talk about, but we want to do this to pay tribute to his family, the Denham Springs community, and it's hard to describe that day, but that day was so fast-paced. And so with me today, I said earlier, is Dakota Naquin. He's deputy sheriff that works here at the Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office. Very honored to have you here with me today, Dakota.
Thank you for having me, Sheriff.
Yes, sir. And so I kind of read up to the point where you kind of come in the picture.
Yes, sir.
So Dakota, you're on scene that day. You actually, you have K9.
I do.
K9's name?
Rex.
Rex. So you and Rex, y'all out doing your routine patrols. You hear all this go down. You hear about, I guess shots fired, just a big deal. And I remember looking at the footage. First off, let me back up. I'm sitting at my desk, and somebody walks in. I don't remember who it was, to say, "Hey, we have an officer down." He, a Denham Springs officer, possibly one of our deputies involved. We don't really know. And so obviously we all just take off toward our vehicles, and we head toward Denham Springs. That's what we do. Light siren, everybody's going to the call, all hands on deck to see what's going on. And watching the video of these things unfolding is something that it just gives you chills every time. And so I wanted to read kind of the things that took place leading up to this. So right after this happens, I know there's some video footage, and there's obviously people rendering aid,
right,
doing what they can to keep Shawn alive, and I think there was a couple of Baton Rouge sheriff deputies, East Baton Rouge sheriff deputy, was working out at a nearby I can't remember this little workout place right there by Petco.
I believe it's like Upshot Fitness, maybe.
Yeah. Anytime it's right there, and I think they were working out, and they see all this go down or hear it, and they go, and they're actually running into CPR, and it's just a crazy scene. And I know that watching your footage, you kind of pull in right after all that happens, and then the call goes out where they actually, this gold Jeep Cherokee,
right,
and you kind of pull in for a minute.
I did.
I think you got out your car.
I did.
hey, y'all need help here.
Yep.
Very quickly, everything's under control. You know that, hey, maybe I need to go north because if I remember right. Somebody called in.
Yes, sir.
So we're going to kind of start there.
Okay.
And I want you to kind of take us through your approach to the Petco.
Okay.
What's going through your mind as you're responding to a scene of officer down?
Yes, sir. So I was in Walker. I was between two different calls for service. I just left one, was on the way to another.
Mm-hmm.
I was going through the northernmost roundabout there, just north of the interstate. And I heard my dispatcher's voice come across the radio. And it sounded like she said, "Officer down," but she said it was calm. And I had my, I had my sheriff's office radio as well as my vehicle's good time radio on as well. So I turned the good time radio down. I'm like, did I just hear that correctly? And as I'm going through this roundabout, she said, "Shots fired, officer down at the Petco in Denham Springs." I dropped everything.
Right.
And I went around the roundabout, and I merged onto the interstate. Lights and sirens. As we go westbound down 12, I'm driving at a high rate of speed. And I get off the interstate, and right there they got all that traffic.
It's horrible when you get off in Denham Springs. It really is.
Every single day. So I'm driving down the shoulder. As I get to the front drive-through of the Petco area, because there's multiple entrances. One of the entrances had
if you're looking at Petco, immediately to your left is Cane's.
Right.
And then you have the Waffle House kind of to your right, and then it's just the big shopping center, that area. So it's very heavily congested.
It is, very much so. As I'm pulling in, I'm seeing that, there's units marked and unmarked everywhere. I remember driving over a curb to get in there because of one of the units was blocking the entrance, but I just wanted to help.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to do any and everything that I possibly could to help Shawn. And at the time, I didn't know who it was.
Right.
I had no idea. And I remember I stopped. I got out of my vehicle, and I could see them. They're doing CPR on him, and all I saw was just somebody wearing a uniform.
Right.
And broad daylight in the parking lot in front of all the whole world to see.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess when I seen that, it became even more real than it already was.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was there. Something was pulling me back to my car.
Mm-hmm.
Because it took everything in my being to turn my back and leave him. But there was nothing more that I could do.
Right.
There was fighters there, multiple of them, multiple law enforcement guys. There was nothing more that I could do that they are not already doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I get back into my vehicle. We have our computer-aided dispatch on the laptop there, and we're having we have a vehicle description. We have a residence address that we're headed to.
I think it's in the Watson area.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, it was Watson. So I have all this information coming in, and there's a lot going on.
Right.
Lights and sirens. I'm trying to navigate to that area, and I'm leaving. I'm going northbound on Range from Petco. It's still a lot of traffic. It's everywhere.
and something else too I want to point out is that we had so much information coming in.
Right.
And look, I'm responding.
Right.
I'm on 190, probably right around the Walker area, just coming out of the Satsuma areas, and I'm headed westbound. And I remember someone specifically saying the gold Jeep, but it's headed northbound on Range.
Right.
In reality, if you actually watch the video, he went toward the range, and I said that earlier, he spins around to go back and shoot again, and then goes out the back way and goes around to Port Pete's Highway, where he kind of disappears and goes off the radar.
Yeah.
Because we don't know where he went from then. So we don't know, but they are saying he's northbound on North Range. So, and I'm just guessing, you kind of fill in the gap here.
I did.
How there's no chance you're going to see this guy.
No.
None at all.
I was going to his house. Yeah.
Yeah. He's up north, so the timeline's probably a good 10 minutes. It seemed like. Is that about right?
Probably so. Yeah.
That he's got this head start on you, so
does.
he's on North Range rolling out.
Yeah. So huge amount of traffic for the time of day. So I'm running my lights and my sirens. I'm approaching intersections, and I wasn't catching any green lights. They were all red.
That's how it goes.
So I was having to stop and make sure it was all clear, before I could proceed. But as I'm moving through this traffic, I'm trying to be mindful that this is real. Mm-hmm. Whoever this person is, he does not want the best for me. He wants to kill me.
Yeah.
Just like he would any other uniformed law enforcement. So as I'm passing different establishments, I'm looking in the parking lots. I'm trying to find this gold Jeep. Hopefully, I can find him in case he's trying to ambush me. Right. Which is one of the biggest things that I was kind of trying to keep in mind, because I know what he's capable of. Right. I continued northbound, and it gets into a part where it becomes a one-way. Right.
So that's going to be right where range splits.
Correct.
And you have Investar Bank is kind of in that split right there, and it goes into a one-way.
Correct.
Both directions.
Yep.
So that's kind of where you at. So you're going north, and you get right about where so you have Investar Bank, and then there's a furniture store. And then it's I call it the old Albertsons, because I'm old school, and most people that listen know what I'm talking about. But it's a newer business now.
I believe it's Servpro now.
Servpro now. So yes.
Yep. So I was going one way, and for some reason the cars, unlike any other time, they're actually getting out of the way. I mean, they're parting like the Red Sea. Yeah. And I'm just kind of staying in the middle, and as I come around the curve, that's when I see the suspect vehicle. And he's out of it. Mm-hmm. He's gotten out. He's got a rifle in his hands. I could see it. He's using the vehicle as cover, and he's pointing it at me. And it, to me, it seemed like it happened so slow. Mm-hmm. It just felt like it was just moving, just like a slug. Yeah. And I slammed the brakes. I turned my vehicle to the left. I tried to, put as much motor between me and him as I could. I was just waiting for the bullets to start coming through the windshield. Mm-hmm. And I remember struggling with my seatbelt for just a second. It seemed like a long time.
I can imagine.
But it probably wasn't very long at all. I get it off. I get out of my vehicle, and the only thing that I'm thinking is I have got to put rounds on him before he puts rounds on me. Mm-hmm. Because right now I'm behind the 8 ball here. Right. So I get out, and I take several shots at the subject, and he disappears from my sight. Mm-hmm. And from the vantage point that I had, it was so far back that I could see underneath his vehicle. So when I fired, actually, right after the last round, the slide locked to the rear. Mm-hmm. And I think that's because I was gripping it too tight.
Mm-hmm. Imagine that.
Didn't even think.
It happens.
I didn't even think about it. I didn't even look at it. I just cleared it, and he was gone. So I took just a moment just to kind of see where he was, because I wanted to move. I didn't want him to know where I was. Right. And that time, that's when I could see it. I could see the blood just pouring. Yeah. Looked like it was coming out of a milk jug just underneath the vehicle. And I used that time to key up on the radio my location and get some other people coming to me. Yeah.
Whenever I told you earlier, I remember I was passing Pendarvis Lane on 190 whenever you called in shots fired.
Yes, sir.
And you were so calm at that moment. And so what a lot of people that are listening don't know about this scene is when you later on watch the videos. So you did. You're basically, there's a truck in front of you.
Yes, sir.
That kind of pulled a little bit over to where you had a little bit of cover with him too.
That's right.
It was I think it was like a Ford truck, if I remember. And then you took your tactical approach with your car, and you were right on the edge of kind of the building of Servpro. So where that parking lot in front of the building starts, I think you were like right in that area.
Right there, yep.
And so so what was going on with the suspect is, and this is just so eerie to know this. So this guy, suspect has, I mean, he's got a rifle down on you. The distance of this shot's 48 feet, 48 yards, basically, if I'm right. I think that's what it was, like 48.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah, those are things that I know because we did an investigation on it later, but it was 48 yards from where he was or where you were at. He has a rifle,
right,
which is very accurate.
Yep.
And he's leaned up on a car. He's got a tactical stance. He is fixing to take you out. And there's only one reason he didn't. And it wasn't because you shot first.
Right.
It's because his gun malfunctioned. And that was so scary to watch that on the tape. He pulls the trigger a couple times. You can see, and look, I'm a firearm instructor. Been a firearm instructor for most of my career, and have a very much tactical background.
Right.
And I know tactics. This guy had a very much seasoned tactical element with him. Mm-hmm. He's leaning forward. He has a stance. The only thing he does is he milks it a little bit, so he's anticipating the recoil.
Right.
We've seen that, and
right.
he does it, I think, twice. And he has a gun malfunction. You see gun, and you do what you do. So this guy is now in a transition mode of getting another weapon because he can't get his to work.
Right.
That was just so scary to me to know that that's how close that you were. This guy had it on his mind. And, and some of the things that you may never see, those of you who are listening, that, you know, watching your tactics, because I know you have, you know, military background, and we'll kind of get into that at the end. A lot of people to know, like, your background, where you came from. But watching you not only react, and you did what you had to do, no ifs and buts about it. You did what you had to do. Your follow-up was so smooth. You made sure that you took cover. You approached that vehicle in a way you never took your sight off of him. You even had a conversation with the guy that's in the truck.
That's right.
In a way that, hey, look, you know, sheriff's office, whatever, but you were so focused on him, but you were also very aware of your surroundings.
Right.
And then in those moments, tunnel vision can set in and really cause a lot of problems.
That's right.
And you had total control over that. In a way that, and I don't know how long it was, but I would have to venture, I want to say, for some reason, in 3-ish minutes, it seemed like, before the first backup person got to you, because I think most of them had already headed north.
Right.
And so what this guy did, this suspect, obviously he went out, like we said, the back of the parking lot,
right,
goes around and somehow comes up one of these side streets back toward range and pops up
right
out in front of you. We imagine that he sees your lights and siren.
Right.
Probably thinks that you see him.
Right.
Or whatever the case may be. Well, we'll never know, but that's what I believe is going on. You're at the right place at the right time.
Right.
Which don't happen very often in law enforcement.
No.
We're usually in the wrong place at the wrong
Correct.
time. But you were in the right place at the right time. And, again, did what was necessary to stop what I believe could have been a very even worse situation if his gun wouldn't have jammed. And then later on, we find, you know, notes from this guy of who else he might want to take care of.
Right.
So it's scary to know that individual, you know, had on the mind. So, and look, I understand that, you know, there may be some medical difficulties with him or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
He took it to a level that you can't turn away from.
That's right.
You know, we have to do what we have to do.
Right.
You know, Naquin, one, and again, your approach, every single moment of that is on, I think it's 3 different video cameras. Servpro had cameras, your in-car camera, and I think it was a couple of other cameras in that area. So you watched it from all angles. And it was a job well done. You know, we hate that someone lost their life because of this. We hate that Shawn Kelly had to pay the ultimate sacrifice for this guy. But at the end of the day, you know, we serve and protect our community. And you did a fantastic job. And we have commended you multiple times for it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Because your act of heroism is just unbelievable. And I know you, just like most of the guys that work in this occupation, you're just doing what you were called to do.
Yes, sir.
And I just wanted to make sure, you know, that was said. So Naquin, a lot of people, they try to kind of get them, you know, where we're at. There is a lot of stuff that goes down after this happens, right?
Right.
That people don't have a true understanding or appreciation for.
Right.
And if you said some things earlier, I want to touch in, and you're very right. When you're involved, I've been involved in a shooting before, and everything's slow motion.
Right.
I remember some voices behind me that sound like Charlie Brown's teacher, right? You can't understand that voice when you have rounds going off all around you, and it can be a difficult situation, but you still want to stay focused. But there's a big process afterwards, and a lot of people don't really understand the impact that it has on you.
Right.
And not only on you, but on the office itself.
Right.
And, you know, so you said some things that I just want to assure you that, one, when you pull up to Corporal Shawn Kelly and people are there,
right,
and they're doing what they can, and there's a sense of, I shouldn't be leaving, I need to be here.
right,
But you were where you were supposed to be.
right.
We know that. I know that a lot of the Denham Springs officers appreciated that, because sometimes it hits home when you don't know, you know, sometimes we all kind of go like, oh my God, what do we do next, you know? And those guys would have done the same thing you would have done, you know? So you were where you needed to be.
Right.
And you know that. And I just want to make sure that you understand that you
Yes, sir.
are absolutely where you need to be.
Yes, sir.
So Dakota, how as this thing unfolds, I just got to ask this question. Rex is your dog.
Yeah.
And I know y'all are very close as your K9 partner. Yeah. What was it? Did he play a role in this at all, other than just kind of being your support guy at the moment? I know it happened so fast, but I remember him like shaking the car at one moment when I was there.
He was. He did that the whole time. The whole response from the Petco to the scene. There was a moment in time. So, and those of you who know Rex know that he does not allow people to come near my vehicle.
Right.
It's like he's trying to get out to you every time, and he's always been like that. But there was a few seconds following whenever I fired at the suspect, there was just this silence on the earth, and it was the most peaceful thing. And it's like I didn't remember that until I seen the videos later on. Yeah, he was excited, but there that moment of silence, and then once I keyed up on the radio, giving directions for responding deputies, his voice, the tone of his barks changed, because he started barking again, and they changed from this high pitch to this low pitch, like, I need to get out of here, my daddy's in trouble. Right. So yeah, he was, and then, you know, in the days following it, I mean, we healed together. Yeah. You know, we got through all of this together. And he's a good dog. You know, it's amazing how these dogs, like, they know. They do. He knows what's fixing to go down before you do. They do. And it's great to have those partners with you, to be able to feed off each other, and
It just really is. One of the things too that we want to add in there on this case here, so that obviously turns in now we have 2 crime scenes.
Right.
We have your shooting and we have Corporal Shawn Kelly's shooting, and we also have officers and deputies that have responded to this resident where this person lived in the Watson area.
Right.
And so that becomes a really big task.
Right.
And we actually called in the East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Sid Gautreaux, sheriff in Baton Rouge, gave him a call and said, hey, look, this is multi-agencies. Normally we would work something in Denham Springs. But now that we're involved, we felt like it was necessary to get another outside agency to look at this scene and investigate it, and they did. And so that's a lot of responsibility to do that, and you spread those crime scenes out. And going through this guy's house, I remember watching the drone footage. We actually put a drone in
Right.
and cleared the whole house, and really kind of an eerie feeling on some of the stuff we found. And not going to go too much in a lot of that, but it was obviously had it on his mind. And as you can see, as I read through this, as he kind of picked a fight all day long, like he was trying to get people's attention for whatever rhyme or reason. And then finally the first uniformed police officer he sees, this is what he does.
He was looking for us.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. So Dakota, following these days, and I kind of was getting this earlier, and y'all got to forgive me because sometimes I will absolutely get in the weeds. But it's very important that when you go through these types of incidents, and unfortunately it's not your first incident to be in,
Right.
It takes a toll on you and your family.
It does.
And so if you're comfortable,
Sure.
walking us through that, we have chaplains that are on call and counselors and things that work with the sheriff's office. You kind of you walk through that.
Yes, sir.
That fire of replaying things in your head.
Right.
And I know that you've said this before. This is a different one.
Right.
I don't think at any moment that you had a second guess on this incident.
No, not at all.
And so the reason I say that is a lot of times, and look, this is very serious, but a lot of times we get involved in these suicide by cop. Right. Different type situation where you, in your mind, can't help but second guess yourself.
Right.
Did any of that ever happen in this incident?
No.
Yeah.
Not at all.
And it's one thing when you talk to me, it was the very first time in my experience, my years of doing this, that I ever had seen that. Is because it was such a straight up incident.
Right.
That I just think it was almost like it was, it was meant to be for you to be the guy there, and the way it kind of went down.
Yes, sir.
The counseling and stuff that we do is protocol.
Right. Yes, sir.
And we also offer, to your family, things like that. But I just kind of want our listeners to know this is not something that is easy. I mean, it really takes a toll on you. You have to go through this and process it, and your family's got to process it, and it's something that you got to live with.
Absolutely.
And knowing that you did what you had to do helps you to heal and to move forward.
Yes, sir,
as
absolutely.
a law enforcement professional. So anything on that day that you have, some of our law enforcement partners listening out there, that just comes to mind that you want people to know or remember, or something that maybe I haven't covered?
I think that it's important, especially for the younger guys that are getting ready to graduate in academy. Mm-hmm. This is real. There are people out here, there are people listening right now to this podcast that want to harm us. They do not want you to go home to your family. And you have to be prepared, because you don't know what's around that next curve in life. You don't know what's waiting for you there. You never know when you wake up in the morning, you go through your routine that you do every day. When you go 10-8 on that radio, you pull out of that driveway, you don't know that might be your last time.
Right.
So I think that it's extremely important And this goes for me, this goes for everyone, just not being complacent and understanding that there may be a time that comes where in order to get home, you might have to do something that you don't necessarily want to do. And the time, whether or not you can make that decision, is not in the moment, because that's how you're going to wind up getting yourself hurt or others hurt.
Oh, without a doubt.
So I think that your mindset is the most important thing, as well, and more importantly than that is faith in God. And I think, all glory to Him. Yes, I was a part of this, but he was there. He was there. He protected me. He's the reason I'm still here today.
That gives me chills, because when I said earlier, watching that video of him taking that tactical stance, it's like his gun jams, whatever. And I mean, I know that's the one thing that really got me was, my God, I mean, this guy had it on his mind.
Yeah.
And without a doubt, God was there and stopped that moment.
Yes, sir.
And gave that opportunity to take care of a problem that was going to become a huge, huge problem.
Yes.
Well, look, man, I greatly appreciate it. Appreciate you coming on the show, talking about this. This can be a really deep and difficult conversation, but we want to pay tribute to a man who gave his entire life to law enforcement. He paid the ultimate sacrifice at the end, has a beautiful family, and I just hate to see these kind of things happen. One of the things we're going to get into later, I'm actually going to have Ms. Stovall on. She was the dispatcher. You said it, kind of hit the nail on the head for me earlier. I remember listening to her and how smooth and calm she was. God, she's so professional. And a lot of dispatchers, as they get seasoned, they understand this. But one of the things that a lot of dispatchers, I don't think, appreciate in the beginning is the impact that they have on us as patrol officers responding.
That's right.
Their tone, their information will get us in a mode
Absolutely.
that can be A, uncontrollable, or B, calm. Like they control us more than they know, just with their voice. Especially you hear them for 12 hours every day you go on shift, right?
That's right.
And so you learn their personalities, and for them to remain in calm and professional, I mean, that's priceless. Right. And that's without a doubt a call. And hopefully we can, when we share some of this information and listen to Emily and how she handles herself is spot on. So it really is. I think it helped you guys a lot that day.
Yes, absolutely.
Very thorough with the information, which is super, super important. Yep. So, well, look, man, I appreciate you being on the show today and getting this message out. We got a few more segments to do with this and interviews to get this segment done. And I just appreciate it for all that you do, the sacrifices that you make. And with that, man, I'm lucky to have you a part of my team. I know that you're venturing off into bigger territory, and I'm proud of you making the decision for you and your family. Yes, I hope you're the best. And look, for you that are listening out there, if you're enjoying these podcasts, remember to follow us on YouTube or whatever listening platform you may be using. Doing this is completely free and a great way to be alerted as new episodes drop. And look, man, that'll do it today for Behind the Scenes with Sheriff Jason Ard. We appreciate all of you listening. Download our LPSO app. Follow us on social media. Like, share. Do all those great things. And look, here in Livingston Parish, we love our schools, we love our churches, and we absolutely believe in the Second Amendment. Be safe and be blessed.